Hi, and welcome back. My name is Nasika Royale, and if anything I share blesses you, challenges you, or helps you grow in any way closer to the Most High, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so we can continue walking this journey together. Now, in my last episode, I talked about growing up in a broken home, what that looked like, and how it shaped me, how it influenced me, and how it influenced my dependency on relationships, especially my friendships. But I want to go a little deeper into something people don't really talk about. So, my father lived outside of our home. A broken home is when two parents have children together, but they no longer raise that child in the same home. One parent is outside of the home. And of course, it's not always screaming or chaotic. However, I did experience that growing up due to just emotions running high. That's just how it is sometimes. So I can relate. Even though it's not always about that screaming and chaos, sometimes it's just simply separation. Two parents, two different households, two lives. And from that separation, my brother was born. And at that age, I didn't have the language for what I was feeling. Something I knew was different. I know I felt split, I felt torn, I felt displaced. You know, you go to your father's house on the weekend, you see another woman in a space where in your child mind, you thought your mother should be here in this place, in this environment.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
So there's a lot of confusion. I remember going to my father's house actually once and seeing pictures on the wall of what looked like a happy family. And as a child, I'm hurt. I'm processing the only way I know how. So, D, I'm sorry. But one day I actually went to my father's house, right? And those pictures that was also nicely in place, there was this one photo on the nightstand, and it was of my father's lady at the time. I actually drew a mustache on one of her pictures, and I feel so bad about it now today because I never hated her. I just didn't understand what was going on. But because I didn't understand, that's just how childish pain shows up. That's broken home energy. But anyway, when my brother was born, I held him, like everything changed. It didn't matter anymore. I loved him instantly. And over time, we became close. Even though we didn't grow up under the same roof, we carried the same blood, my father's blood, that same loss, that same father. And when my father passed away when I was 14, my brother was he was 3 years old. So he didn't even get to experience my father the way that I did. So now we're both grieving differently. So that pain is going to show up differently as we get older, in different houses, at different ages. And him being the only child in his household, I can only imagine that kind of loss, just that feeling of loss. It just shapes you differently. It shapes how you attach, how you cope, how you search for comfort. For me, I ran to friendships. Friendships became everything to me, period. My home was definitely fractured. It was broken. So I kind of ran from my family for a while. I literally just built family outside of the home, and my friends were literally my family. But here's the problem with that: nobody in your circle is ever really spiritually anchored. Sin becomes normal. We made everything acceptable. Drinking, normal. Sex, normal. Partying, super normal. Smoking weed, normal. God knows my heart, we good, normal. And when everybody is doing the same thing, nobody corrects anybody at all. Nobody is held accountable. You can't call out what you're also doing. Message. Participating in it is you accepting it. And honestly, for years, it just kept going down that rabbit hole. So literally, I got deeper and deeper and deeper. And I said I would never repeat certain cycles again. But trauma has a funny way of humbling you, because the same things you judged at 13, you experiment with at 20. Not because you're evil, okay? I just want to make that clear. It's not because we're evil, but because we're unhealed. I was unhealed. And my bloodline struggled with depression, alcohol abuse, drug abuse. And somehow, even though I said I would never, I literally dabbled too. For a season, for a time. It had me for a long time, but not forever. All praises to the Most High. Coming out of high school, I became pregnant. Yeah. And I chose abortion. At that time, I wasn't practicing celibacy. I wasn't spiritually anchored or covered at all. I wasn't disciplined. I was young. I was thinking very much short term. I didn't want to be a young mother. I didn't want to repeat what I thought I saw growing up. But I didn't understand how that decision would truly affect me later. Having an abortion is such a huge decision. And I know people have different reasons for why they, get them, but don't let it be a reason because you want to be young and promiscuous. You want to be young and drink and get drunk and, end up in compromising situations that now later you're at a Planned Parenthood deciding if you should have an abortion or not at 16, 17 years old. I didn't understand how deeply it would sit in my spirit later on, especially when you become more mature in the word, in the spirit, Years later, I grieved that child. It's not as bad as it once was, but I grieve because I truly realized I was blessed to even conceive. To be able to even conceive a child is a blessing, and you don't want to abort a blessing. Listen, I didn't have the spiritual maturity to understand the weight of that back then. So that's what happens when you move outside of God's will, when you move without covering. When God isn't your cornerstone, every decision is shaky. It is. And that experience changed how I saw my role as an aunt. Because by that time, my nephew was already here, and that's another blessing. My sister had him young, so I was going through all the emotions, and history was repeating itself again because my mother had my sister young. Broken homes, young parents, unhealed trauma, cycling. You see what I'm saying? And something shifted in me, though. becoming an aunt, being an aunt, stopped me from being casual in a lot of ways. It became intentional, the way I lived. I needed to be stable. I needed to be disciplined. I needed to show up for my nephew. I needed to show up. I needed him to know that broken beginnings don't determine finished outcomes. Because I understand, I grew up in that way too, in that environment. I know what it feels like to be confused, to be split from your mother or your father. But that doesn't mean you're doomed. That doesn't mean your life is over. That doesn't mean you're less than or less deserving or less worthy. Scripture says in James 1:27, let me read it. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. Our Heavenly Father is with us, who are fatherless, motherless, who have no family at all. He is here. You just have to call on him. You have to stay diligent in seeking him until you find him. So don't feel like you're doomed or that you have nothing in this world, because you have everything when you have the Most High. That is the highest protection in the whole universe that you can ever receive. And sometimes I know it may not feel like it because the world that we live in, but trust me, just keep seeking him, keep working on yourself, and don't give up. That's when I started understanding generational curses. It's patterns, it's trauma repeating itself until somebody says it ends with me. So let it end with you. And that's what I decided to do. Not perfectly by any means. I backslid many times because I intentionally chose to say, you know what, I want to do this today. This is what I feel like doing. My flesh wants to do this. And even when you decide to get baptized, I got baptized 3 times in my life because every time I got serious, I thought, this is it. I'll never fall again. But this walk is seriously long suffering for a reason. You get attacked even harder when you get baptized. When you literally decide, I'm going to live holy, you get tested more when you choose obedience. That's not by mistake, that's just testing your faith. But it's not about, and I want to make this very clear as well, because I know I said I got baptized 3 times, but it's seriously not about how many times you get baptized. It's not how many times you fall. It's about whether you stay down. Bottom line, what I really want to leave y'all with here today, and this is very important, this is powerful, and this should also be a source of comfort for you. You can't take back your baptism. The day you get dipped underneath that water, you crossed a spiritual threshold. You might fall away. You might even stray. I know people who've been baptized 100 times. You might be one of them folks, just like me, always needing to get like your batteries recharged. You know, oh, I need to start over again from this so I won't do this again. But no. Remember, what you'll never be again is someone who wasn't baptized. You did it once, now just focus and get it right. You passed the point of no return. You did it. Now cherish that and count on it. There's no going back. At some point, I had to stop playing with sin. I had to make that choice because, again, the wages of sin is death. And I had seen enough death in my family, enough loss, enough chaos, enough brokenness. I didn't want to keep rehearsing that same story. I didn't want to be put in that same movie, casted for those same roles. So I decided I'm going to put on the armor of the Most High, the armor of God. And when the test came, I prayed to pass. And passing doesn't mean perfection. It means progress. It means when the old door opens, you don't walk back through it. No. When that door is cracked, you close it. You wouldn't leave a cracked door open when you're going to sleep at night in your home. And remember, the devil is a crackhead. He's always looking for cracks. So please be mindful to just close it, lock it, and keep your armor on. When something is dead, you don't go dig it back up. You don't. We don't go to graves and resurrect what buried us. We don't do that. And that's what sin tries to do. Resurrect the old versions of you. That's the devil ain't got no new tricks. He is doing the same thing over and over and over again. You ain't got nothing new yet? That's all you got? That's it? So yeah, I'm choosing life now. And I want you to choose life now. Choose life, choose discipline, and choose obedience. Because that's what I'm choosing. You are not disqualified. You just need alignment. Please don't give up. God needs his chosen warriors. You just need to be awakened. This is just a video to awaken you. So wake up. We have work to do. So, if this video resonated with you, like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And thank you for listening, and may God continue to bless you.